welcome to Guitarist Magazine. We can be found on the web at www.guitarist.com. My name is Jason J. Rock Houston, and my special guest today is Brothers in Arms guitarist Jack Frost. How you doing today, Jack?
I'm good, man. How you doing out there?
Yeah, I've been enjoying your Brothers in Arms album. It's been out for a while, and I got to really give you credit, Jack, because as many people who've checked this out probably know, you got different singers and different musicians playing on all the tracks, and amazingly, it sounds like a very cohesive album, which is not always an easy thing to do when you have an album like this.
It's funny, man, that you said that a lot. Like, when we were making the record, me and my friend Jeff, he mixed the record with me and produced it with me, and we were saying, this is the hardest thing, like, maybe the guitars will all sound the same, it's me, but especially when it comes to singers, like, how do you, like, have, maybe have a guy with a high voice, and you got a guy with a low voice, it just, I don't know, man, like, everything is aligned correctly, and everybody just did such a great job, because, I mean, I put my hat down to every guy involved in this. It just came out way beyond what we thought it was going to come out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, on that note, that's kind of attitude, you had about this whole album, everybody that's taken part in it, everything I've seen you say. In fact, there's a little note you write in here to the other guys. It says, a very special thanks to everyone involved in this project, which without your awesome talent, soul, and magic throughout, none of this would have been possible. This is a dream come true and an honor to call you all brothers. Jack Frost.
Yeah. That came from my heart, and I really meant it, man, because, you can always, people put thank you, special thanks. I thought that was more of a letter to my friends, because they, honestly, man, a lot of these guys are so busy and so well known, and you can tell they didn't, there's a lot of, people sometimes will phone stuff in, like, you can go see a band sometimes, and you watch the show and you're like, do they want to be there? Yeah. Like, I feel like they're looking at the clock, like, another 3 minutes and we're done, and it's like, these guys, like, they just went the extra mile. Like, are you good with this? I can fix it. I'm like, no, it's unbelievable. They were just, and they all like, it was weird. After everything was done and we did some live Zoom things, they were all emailing each other. Hey, man, I love what you did on this song. I love your vocals on this. And these guys are, like Keith St. John and Andrew, and these guys are, Todd Poole, were just like, they're all emailing each other. And I just thought that was such a cool, it's just a vibe that, wow, it wasn't about money. It wasn't about, like, I'm going to be better than you. It was about, like, hey, man, we're going to do something really fun and special. And that, I don't know, man, I couldn't write it enough in that paragraph. I mean, it just, I'm still, like, sometimes I'll turn the record on and, like, I'll say it, I don't believe it's me, because it's just something, I mean, I'm so proud of it, because it's just, especially the way the last few years have been, to come out with something like this really, really shows that, I'm very fortunate to be involved with all these guys.
Yeah, I'm an old school guy too, but I love still holding like a physical CD in my hand, which I've got an actual physical CD of the Brothers in Arms CD as I'm sitting here talking to you. And on the cover, you guys, of course, got the two little Brothers in Arms kind of holding the arms, and there's like a picture of a whiskey. I was curious, did you guys do a one-off show at the whiskey to promote this?
No, we haven't yet, but we want to so bad.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, most of the guys like Keith and Andrew and Chertino and, Jesse Damon, they're all out, West Coast.
Yeah.
So, what we wanted to do was, NAMM's usually in January, and we're like, that would be perfect, because Keith runs the Montrose Bash, and then there's the Rhodes Bash, and we're like, we should, the Ultimate Jam Nights, we're like, we should do like 3 or 4 shows with Brothers in Arms during that, but unfortunately they canceled NAMM this year.
Yeah.
And, again, for the second year in a row. Now, they're doing it in June, but it's the hardest thing to get, that's a big touring time, and, everyone's going to be out. So we're trying, man. We definitely want this COVID thing to go down a lot more before. We don't want to book a show and pay for all these flights, and then all of a sudden it gets canceled, and it's just, not that it's not worth it, but it's just like, it's there's a lot of time and effort to put in, and then not have it happen. And I know it would really bum us out.
And I think the album too, besides just the great guests you have on featured throughout the album, I mean, I think your talent as a songwriter really kind of shines, because you kind of could have done this the modern way and maybe put out a track at a time. But I dig the fact that, you know, we get a whole CD here. If that's what you want, you can get it digitally, however you want to get it. And again, it's amazing because you got different singers and different performers, and yet somehow they're just all great tunes. They sound like a very cohesive collection of tunes that kind of, amazingly fit together. And I think it's just kind of the sum of all the parts kind of coming together.
Well, thanks, man. Well, I think what it was I've always, a lot of these guys, I think like I was saying before, I'm like a big fan of their voices, and a lot of their, like Charlie's keyboard playing, and I mean, just my rhythm section. I mean, Carl and Alex, I'm a fan of their playing, and their history. So I think I did a lot of homework on like when I was writing. I'm like, oh man, this would be a great song for Keith St. John. Yeah. This would be a great song for Friedman, and it just kind of fell in that way. Like I just had them in my mind, like. Once it started to go, after the first two songs, it was kind of like a roller coaster. Like, I was hitting up guys like Todd Poole and, Nick Walsh. I was just reaching out to them, man. And every one of these guys were just so cool when I talked to them. They're like, sounds fun, man. Let me hear a track. And they would just send me stuff back. I was just, to this day, I'm still shocked. You should hear some of the demo stuff they sent me. They just nailed it, man. They literally took the bull and went with it,
Yeah, speaking of demos, I mean, I'm sure you have like a ton of unreleased tracks that were recorded that didn't even make it onto the final cut.
I do have a lot of songs that are still in like, B sections, like, verse, the chorus, but we just kind of like, I'll be honest with you, everything on that record you hear, we used all the vocals and everything. None of these guys sent me any duds.
Yeah,
Dude, it's crazy. Like, you would think I would get a couple of tracks and, imagine going to, like, someone like Andrew. Are you cool with this?
Yeah.
Well, I think you can do better. No, man, I was just like, they're like, are you sure? They were really, like, they wanted to be happy and they wanted me and them all to be happy. So, there was no fillers. They just, again, man, they just nailed it.
I think each guy really gets to shine on their track. I mean, and you got a couple of them where like the Keith St. John tracks. Okay, you got first one is "Bitch Is Crazy," and I mean that's just a crazy ass rock tune. I mean it shows what he can really do a great rockin' tune like that. And then the other song is which is a current single, had to Make You Mine. I think that's the name of it.
Make You Mine. Yeah.
Make You Mine, and like almost kind of a power ballad type of thing. Total showing like the two sides of what he can do.
Oh yeah, right. I mean, it was really funny. I have a good story for you. So when I sent Keith that track, I'm like, I don't know, man. Actually, I'm wrong. I sent him two tracks, right? Yeah. And I said, just in the back of my mind, I go, he's never going for the power ballad. There's no way. Calls me up. He goes, that's me. I go, what? He goes, you don't know how much I love bands like Journey and old Aerosmith. And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, I could see that. And he was just like all over it, which kind of blew my mind. Like, because me, unfortunately, I'm always, and no disrespect to my history, but I'm always pigeonholed. Oh, Jack, he's the metal guy. He's the metal guy. Yeah. And I'm really not. And that's the funniest thing about it. Like for me, I love AOR. Journey, Foreigner, bands like that. I love.
Yeah, who doesn't? Yeah.
But a lot of these metal guys, they'll be like Priest and Maiden. Don't get me wrong, man. I cut my teeth on Priest and Maiden, and Seven Witches is basically that era of music. That classic metal thing. But deep down inside, I'm a closet LA hair band guy and totally an AOR guy. So for me, this record is like my dream come true. I got to really like go back to like 82, 83 when Rat and crew were just tearing up the Sunset Strip.
Oh yeah, and another thing about Keith St. John is a lot of people may not realize that he was a current singer in Kingdom Come also. American hard rock guy. Replacing the great Lenny Wolf, the great legendary German singer. But he kind of did it his way, and the fans accepted it.
Well, you know what, dude? What I think it's cool about that, I mean, it's funny. I was in a band called Metallium in like early 2000, and I lived in Germany for a good 4 or 5 years, and Lenny lived like 5 minutes away from me. And my drummer, so my drummer, Mark Cross, is German, Greek, and British. And we used to go out to dinner, and Lenny would come hang out with us. Lenny's cool, man, but great singer. So, I remember hearing Lenny sing so much back in the day, and I think what's cool about it is Keith does it. He definitely tips his hat to respect the Kingdom Come.
Of course.
But then he adds the Keith vibe to it, and I think that's great. I think that's what makes it special because I don't think Keith wants to be a clone to anybody, and I don't think Keith can be a clone because he's so original.
Yeah.
It's like Andrew. It's like Friedman, man. He's singing all these old Dio classics, but Andrew does it with so much respect to Ronnie, and that's why I like these guys, man. They're this special type of singers. They really are.
Yeah, it's almost like Sammy Hagar, in Van Halen. Sammy could never do David Lee Roth like David Lee Roth. I mean, and if he even tried, people would say, "Oh, he's trying to copy Dave," and he can't. They've got their own thing going.
Well, that's the thing, man. I mean, to me, to this day, the first Montrose record is like to me, it's one of these holy grails of records. And man, Sammy was a baby on that record, and man, listen to his voice on that first Montrose record. Wow.
Oh yeah, there's no denying it. And another thing I love about I love the fact you got Nick Walsh on here too, because a lot of people may or may not know him from Slick Toxic, and then I also know he was briefly in the legendary Canadian band Moxie. He's one of those guys kind of under the radar, but huge talent.
You know what, man? He is such a sweet guy. He has such an amazing look, and he's still out there playing all the time. And you know what, dude? It's kind of sad because, and I always say this about Canadian artists, there's such an amazing bunch of bands in Canada, like Harem Scarum, Moxie. I mean, the Sven Galley. I mean, and not talking about bands like Triumph and Annihilator. Everybody knows those bands. Yeah. But these bands that, like Slick Toxic and even Helix. Helix broke pretty big. Yeah. But they broke pretty big in the States. But like bands like Harem Scarum, nobody sounds like Harry, and nobody plays like Peter Lesperance.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of a thing like, you don't really realize this. And on the other pond, such great songwriters, and I've always been a fan of Nick. I mean, Killer Dwarfs, all these guys.
Oh yeah. Killer Dwarfs, I forgot. Yeah, and you mentioned Triumph, and of course they were huge. But what's sad about Triumph? I'm glad they're coming out with a documentary because Rush was just a little bigger than Triumph, and sadly, like recently I was listening to Triumph's Greatest Hits, and so many people have forgotten what a great band Triumph was and all the great tunes they had.
Oh my God! You know what? I was pretty lucky. I got a couple of tickets for they did a screening of that documentary in Philly.
Okay.
So I went down to it. I was so devastated when I got there. I can promise you, there were like 7 people in the theater.
Wow.
Which I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And I went. I took my niece's husband. We're like best friends. I go, you ever heard of a band called Triumph? He goes, I remember a couple songs.
A couple songs, yeah.
But he's more into like bands like Fish and like, more like jam bands.
Yeah.
He left that movie theater and he goes, that was incredible. Because he really, you don't realize, I mean, I do because I'm a Triumph fan since day one. Rick Emmett was like Richie Blackmore and Yngwie and also like Neil Schon all wrapped into one. So, and Tommy Shore, he's got that high voice. So a lot of people just don't realize there's hit after hit after hit.
Yeah, and here's a little trivia for you regarding Triumph. Do you know who is the guy who replaced Rick Emmett in Triumph briefly?
Well, there's
Okay.
There's Rick Sanders.
Oh, okay.
Rick Sanders had a band called Sanders, and if you watch the live from Montreal, or I forget, it's Toronto or Montreal. I don't remember where the video was shot, but it shows like the big tour they did as a DVD.
Yeah.
Rick Sanders is the guitar player that's playing guitar and keyboards, but they did a record with Phil X.
Yeah, that's a Bon Jovi guitarist. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And probably people don't know that. That record is awesome, man. And Phil killed on it. And, that's not easy shoes to fill, man. Like, here's a funny story. So Phil X was in Triumph and then joins Bon Jovi. Yeah. Phil was in Aldenova. Did you know that?
No. But, what I was getting ready to say is I interviewed Phil, and, we were kind of joking about it. Like, hey, man, that's the greatest side gig, being a hired hand, like replacing Richie Sambora, but what a side gig.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, but dude, he also had to replace friggin' Rick Emmett.
Yeah.
And it's really funny now because we all joke about this now. So when Aldenova put out Blood on the Bricks, Phil was the guitar player for that whole tour. He's in all the videos.
Yeah.
You probably don't know that. You got to look. This is when Phil's hair was like to his waist.
Okay.
So it's really funny now. I play guitar for Aldenova, and I said, isn't it like very weird how the world just circles?
Yeah.
It's weird. It's just pretty funny.
Yeah, I was going to ask, because I was reading that last night that you're in Aldo's. Do you play on his new album that's coming out in March?
No. I'm just a touring guitar player.
Oh, okay, cool though.
Yeah, but I'm actually. I don't know if you noticed. He released the first single and video yesterday.
I have to check it out. I didn't see that, but yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, but if you go on Brave Words of Bloody Knuckles, if you go on Aldenova's Instagram and Facebook, or even mine, the new videos out there, it's really cool.
Because Blood on the Bricks, that's one of my all-time favorite albums. That was kind of his comeback album. Of course, it was Bon Jovi that was helping him with that and getting it out there, and I think that was one of the best comeback albums ever. Blood on the Bricks,
Oh yeah, it's great. And I mean, I got some great. I mean, dude, he tells me some great stories about working with John, and you got to remember, dude, Aldenova's first record was 81, 82.
Yeah.
And 82, right? So Fantasy, and he was recorded at the power station, and John was a kid.
Yeah.
Working there and working on the demos for the first Bon Jovi record.
Wow.
And, and trust me, Aldenova's all over that first Bon Jovi record.
Yeah, it's amazing. Aldo, he's kind of takes so many years between his releases, but man, when he comes out with something, it rocks.
You're gonna. Well, the new song's called "Free Your Mind."
Oh, I'm gonna check it out tonight.
Check out the video, man. It's pretty badass.
Are you in the video?
Oh yeah, me, Dario, the whole band's in the video.
Oh, cool. And that I can't wait to hear it. And then of course, getting back to Brothers in Arms, you got the great Paul Shortino. You can never go wrong with him.
The Duke, baby.
Yeah, the Duke. Yeah, from wow.
He's dude. Honestly, to me, that was a like pinch yourself moment too, because I was always a fan of Rough Cut, and I got to see Rough Cut open up for like Dio on their first tour, and I was just like, this guy. And when he did the Quiet Riot record, nobody has that weird. He has a different kind of a rasp that it's just this vibrato, and to have this guy. I'll never forget this. He calls me up and he's singing to me over the phone. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? I'm like, that's fucking awesome. And I'm thinking to myself, here's a guy that I went to go see at Brendan Bernardino opening up for Dio. And I was like, wow. And here, this same guy's calling me, the same guy that was on the Stars, record. And he's going, what do you think, Jack? And I'm like, that was great, man. I'm just, he's a really good friend of mine now, but I feel I still have mad respect for him as an artist, and I'm not embarrassed now. Some people are like, well, you're at that level. You can't be a fanboy. I go, it's not a fanboy. It's called I'm a respect of their art. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're an artist and you like Picasso, what? You can't have a Picasso painted in your house because you're a fanboy? No.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest, man. Like, very much have mad respect for Paul's history. So.
Yeah, oh yeah, how could you not? I mean, and to me, he's one of the few guys that has actually been able to kind of replace Kevin Dubrow. I mean, he did it, when Kevin was still alive, but I mean, the fact that he could go in and make an album with, and pull it off, I think he's the one guy who was able to do that.
Oh, dude, that record was great, man. The first single, "Stay With Me Tonight," was just ridiculous. I thought that was, they still, no disrespect, Kevin Dubrow was a god.
Oh yeah.
But going in there and being, okay, listen, we want you to be yourself, and you could hear it. He definitely was himself, and it really worked.
Yeah, and I'm just saying that too because when Kevin passed away, they went like through 7 singers before ending up with Jizzy finally. So I mean, it took a number of singers to kind of find the right guy.
Oh yeah, but dude, how great is Jizzy for that band?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, he's just great. He's a great front man, and I mean, one of my dearest friends is playing drums for them now, Johnny Kelly. So I think they're doing it. It's great having Rudy back in the band.
Yeah, yeah. So
I really think they're going to do really well for themselves. The fans are going to really eat it up, and what a great way to pay homage to Kevin Dubrow, and Frankie,
yeah. And shine another light, Jesse Damon, of course, a singer from Silent Rage, another guy from Canada. A lot of people may or may not know him, but he's written some songs with Gene Simmons and Kiss. So, how did you hook up with him?
What was that?
How did you hook up with Jesse? Did you know him? Was he somebody you just...
I did know my friend Eric Ragno plays with him a lot, and I'm really tight with Eric. But I met Jesse a few times at NAMM, but I could tell you why I reached out to him. Dude, that first Silent Rage record that Simmons was involved in, I thought was awesome. I was like, this... Again, I'm a fan of, I have these CDs.
Yeah.
And, when I reached out to him, he was just so cool. He was like, oh, this, and then, Charlie Cal from Angel wrote that song, and we wanted to do something more like, a little more epic-y, and Jesse just killed, man. He's got such a great set of pipes. Okay,
and then a couple other guys. I noticed there's a guy here, Alex Jansen. I'm not too familiar with him. Talk a little about who he is and how you...
Sure. Well, Alex is he lives in Germany. It's funny how we got hooked up. I heard his name for years. So I was playing guitar for the great John Beauvoir from Plasmatic.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So I did a bunch of shows with John, and then John 2-3 years ago went and he did a festival over Europe, and what happened was he couldn't take anybody from the band from America. It just got too costly.
Yeah.
Alex played bass for that show, and I watched the videos, and I'm like, he did a really great job. So, fast forward, reverse now 3 years ago, Alex was at NAMM the last time NAMM was.
Oh, wow.
And he walked up to me, and I walked up to him, and I said, Alex? He goes, Jack. And we literally just hit it off so great. And then, maybe 4 months later, once COVID hit, Alexandro from Frontiers hit me up about playing on Ronnie Monroe's record.
Okay.
And I said, that sounds great. I love Ronnie's voice, from Metal Church.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. All of a sudden, I find out Alex is playing bass on the record.
Oh, cool.
So it just literally... So for people that don't know Alex sang on Unbreakable, the Scorpions record. He sang a lot of the backups.
Oh, wow.
But he also filled in a lot for when Hardline goes out in Europe. Sometimes the female bass player couldn't make a couple of shows. Alex played bass. So, he's a great player, man. And he actually filled in last summer when Seven Witches went to Belgium and to play Alcatraz Festival. Alex played bass for me.
Oh, wow. And so, another guy in here that I'm not too familiar with myself is Todd Poole, but I just love when he does on here, too. So talk a little bit about Todd.
Okay, so pretty easy.
Yeah.
If you never heard Roxy Blue.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm just, okay.
Okay, Todd is basically Roxy Blue. So that first Roxy Blue record, man, it had that kind of Memphis swing, but it had Todd's great, Todd's got this raspy, dirty, but melodic voice. So, again, he is a good old boy, man. He is one of the coolest guys. He's the type of guy you want to like sit in your backyard with, cook some burgers and have a beer. Because he's just a fun, but dude, what a friggin' craft songwriter. That dude is such an amazing songwriter.
And then you got Steve Overland.
Dude, that is the UK version of Lou Gramm. I always was a huge fan of FM. I still can't believe that Steve did it. And I mean, City That Never Sleeps. Oh my God, dude, that should be a movie soundtrack.
yeah. And
Steve's great.
I was watching the current music video you have for Make You Mine, and of course, it heavily features Keith St. John because he's the singer. And I was kind of thinking, it's kind of amazing that you're not really in the video, but I love the fact that you're featuring the other guys.
You know what, dude? My thing was like this. It was really hard to make all this work with the COVID thing, and I have no ego whatsoever.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like.
My thing was, I really wanted this to be about Keith and a girl like going on tour, leaving, to give you that vibe. Yeah. But if you watch the video, there's a bunch of, the guys from Last and Liner in the video, Freeman's in the video.
Yeah.
Britt Lightning from Vixen's in it. I thought it was really cool, man. And Dave Amato played the solo on it. Dave is one of my dearest friends from REO Speedwagon, and Mick Mahan for Pat Benatar played bass on that song. He's such a great player, Mick.
And Mick Mahan, I think I seen that he played one of the Ronnie Montrose Remembered events a couple years ago.
Oh yeah, well, a couple of years ago I played it, Mick played it, Dave played it, and Keith runs the whole thing.
Of course,
so
yeah.
That was the funniest thing backstage. Freeman and me did a song together. It was, August was there. So that's a great show. We missed the Montrose Bash,
Oh yeah, see, I told Keith the great thing about that event, I think, is like you were saying, those first two Montrose albums, especially the first album, everybody just loves what Sammy does on those albums. But what I think's great about the event Keith puts on is people are starting to realize there's more to Ronnie Montrose than just those first two albums.
Oh, there's a whole history. I mean, he has so many. People don't get it,
Yeah, and so I gotta say, you mentioned Deco Entertainment. That's the label behind this. Great little label. And I was curious. Is this meant to be like a one-time project? Are they happy with the response you got? Is there talking maybe a follow-up?
Okay, so the only thing I'll say that I will correct everybody with, they call it a project.
Okay.
This is definitely a real band. We plan on making 30,000 more of these records.
Great.
Everybody involved was, it's definitely a band, and it has a band vibe and a band, feeling. Deco was so great to us. They gave us full reign. They never said, "Oh, can you write some pop hits?" Our deal with Deco is this: we did one album with them. We're hoping, I'm already, I have a bunch of songs already I'm working on. They were really good to us, but it's up to them if they want to do another record. I won't do something like it. I won't be a jerk and go, "Oh, sorry, this label offered me more money. I'm going there."
Yeah.
Deco gets first shot. They haven't said yes or no yet, but I know they're very happy. And if they decide that they're going to go a different way, I just appreciate everything they did, and I'll find another label that suits good for this. I mean, trust me, a lot of people took notice to this record, and I don't think we'll have a problem finding another deal if Deco doesn't want to do it, but they're like family to me, those guys there. I mean, Charlie, the keyboard player, works there, and I know the owner, Bruce, forever. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, they've been very, very supportive with everything we've done.
Yeah, and like you said, if anybody listens to the whole entire CD from top to bottom. I mean, they're really great songs, and they really. I said it a million times throughout the interview today. They sound like they were written to be on the same album together. They're just great tunes, and it's music. I think when I listen to it, it sounds like you Jack, who wrote these songs, and the guys who wrote the lyrics. These sound like they're songs that were created, from the heart. You can hear that.
Yeah, dude, thank you so much. Well, I have to say, I gotta say this too. Everyone goes, "Oh, the lyrics." These guys did a lot more than just the lyrics, man. Andrew and Keith and Todd, Nick would call me. I mean, they would all call me Paul.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I guess the final question for the day regarding, there being another album in for Brothers in Arms. Do you think you work with the same musicians? Do you see asking other people to take part, or have we not thought that far ahead yet?
No, it's funny you say. It's so hard to answer that wholeheartedly, because I would love to do the whole thing all over again with everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Schedule-wise,
my thing is, there were a couple of singers that didn't make the record, not because they're not great,
not enough
just
room.
because timing and stuff. So I would love to get a couple more guys involved, but it's really hard to do that, because, man, these guys just crushed.
Oh, they rocked it, yeah.
I want them all to be involved, but you know what, man? They're individuals. I think everybody had a good time, and I think everybody respected what I did. And would I love to do it with everybody? If they all agreed, I agree. I mean, because I couldn't make this record without them, man. They just brought so much more to the table than you ever know.
Oh yeah,
every one of them did.
And it's, I'd imagine too, a project like this, it also comes down to everybody's schedules and their other projects and what they're doing, and so I guess we can just hope for the best. But yeah, I'm loving.
Yeah. But my thing is like this: if it came down to it, and Shortino said, "Jack, I need 3 weeks because I'm kind of busy right now," I would wait those 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because that's how much I love each guy in this band.
That's cool. And now you mentioned that you're going to be touring with Aldo Nova. Anything else you're got down the pipeline, or is that it for now?
Well, no. I mean, literally, I'm waiting. About 80% of the Seven Witches record's done.
Oh wow!
So that should be coming out this year too. The new Seven Witches. And I always say this: if anybody ever needs a guitar player for studio work or
Jack Frost is your man.
I want to work, man. I love to play, so it's not about the money. It's just about, So who knows what else might pop my way right now? I just want to get out there and play,
Yeah, and the other thing I got a huge amount of respect for you, Jack, is I notice you're not all over social media. And what I mean by that is I follow all my favorite musicians, on Facebook and that, like everybody. But you got some musicians that are, and I won't name names, but they go online and they try to shame people about wearing masks. You just kind of stick to talking about your music and not worrying about what everybody else is doing. I think that's part of why people really love everything you do.
Thanks. Well, my thing is like this. I never had a Facebook. Finally, I had to get a Facebook because it's hard to talk to people. On Facebook. But then, I got to tell you the funniest story. I'm really tight with Doug Aldrich, and he said to me, he goes, "Dude, you got to get an Instagram." I'm like, man, I'm just not into all that stuff. He goes, "Jack, it's really cool because you keep up with your friends and other bands, and now I have an Instagram," and he's right. I'll only post something that's the Aldo Nova video or the new Brothers in Arms video, and that's it. I don't talk about you should get your shots, or you should get your shots, or this is a good president, or this is a bad president, because you know what? Politics, religion, keep it
simple. Keep it simple.
I'm not a politician.
Yeah.
You know what? And God forbid if you say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude! If you don't agree with everybody else's, and that's the great thing about America. I thought that we all everyone had an opinion. Dude, I don't care who you voted for.
Yeah.
You know what? That's it. But you like Stryper? So do I.
Keep it simple, yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I feel feel about it.
And Facebook is kind of and stuff like that. Doug Aldrich is right. It's kind of a necessary evil if you want to communicate people, like talking about music or whatever it is you do. But I'll give you a funny example. Like I follow a lot of bands, and I was trying to like this band's page the other day, and Facebook sends me back a message. You've liked over 5,000 pages. Get rid of some of the pages you like, and then you can like this page. Like, okay, whatever.
Jeez,
yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you that he's right though. That Instagram's cool because I put up a video of the new guitar, and guys like everybody, like Tracy Guns and Doug and. It's just everybody like, that's cool, Scotty Hill, and we just talk that way, and people like, oh wow, these guys are just, we're all friends, and we all love gear, and what are you using? It's just, that's the cool thing about it. If you're using it as a platform to talk about gear, and people that are not musicians still love to check that stuff out, and I really think that makes it the fun part of it.
Oh yeah, it really does. Well, Jack, thanks for taking time to talk to us again. I really enjoyed talking to you.
No problem, brother.
And the interview, like I said, I'm planning to put it up on Thursday. I will let Chip know once it goes up. Take care, my friend, and we will be in touch.
Dude, check out the Aldenova video when you can, all right?
Yeah, I'm going to do that right now. Take care. Bye-bye.
Have a great weekend, brother. Be safe.